What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast OnSight. Actually, no, I shouldn't even say it's a beautiful Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday internally. Hope everyone is enjoying their Sunday wherever they're at, whether they're on the other side of the world, whether they're just up the street. Over here on the northeast side, snowy. I don't like it. It don't put me in a bad mood, but I mean, I just look outside and I'd be like, what outside could be? And that's what gets me through the winter time, is when, like, knowing that summer is gonna be pulling back up. Well, springtime and summertime. It's like knowing what it can be, and that's what gets me through the winter time. At least from the weather wise. And yeah, everybody goes through their own problems and all that stuff. But they're here to shine some light and here to like put smiles on faces and all that good stuff, you know. So just gonna jump into it a little bit right here. Actually, you know what, let me before I even go on with the topics of talking about Giannis and the holiday movies that I had on the agenda today, I was going to talk about what I posted on the IG page, and the post said that we have a new topic, and it's pretty much us and like people, like pretty much Gioni or me, highlighting either a song or an album that we've been listening to a lot or been bumping to a lot. It's the frequent rotation. And this week's one was Nike 2 by Kenny Mason. And quite honestly, I don't listen to a whole lot of Kenny Mason, but I listen to a little bit of his stuff, and I've been listening to the Nike 2 a lot. And it's going to be the way that, like, what really qualifies for it would pretty much be, it's not going to pretty much be what everyone's listening to. Maybe eventually we'll get to that point that, like, people, it would be, hopefully it will be like a pristine honor for somebody, you know. But, I mean, hey, it's just a start. I thought it would be fun, and hopefully stuff like this can kind of, like, grow into something more. Who knows? But yeah, this week it's Nike 2 by Kenny Mason, and it's kind of a way to have you guys go and try something new, and it's kind of going to be exclusively towards like hip hop and R&B and rap, and maybe there's some other different style of songs that are on there, but kind of is probably going to be more towards that side. But it's just a way for you guys to kind of like expand your rotation, maybe expand your playlist, and maybe find an artist you like, or maybe find a song that you weren't listening to previously, you know. And hey, I like getting put on new music, so. But that's that. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes throughout the weeks. But I think it would be fun. Just a little something extra to post on the IG. But yeah, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. That little tidbit, and be sure to go check out the artists that we'll be putting on there. And we're not in any partnerships with anybody or nothing like that. But it's just a way to just, again, expand your horizons. And I don't know, change is good, and listening and trying something new is always fun. But yeah, jumping into it, stuff that isn't changing and stuff that trying something new isn't going to be what Giannis is going to be doing for the next couple of years when it comes to living in a certain area. He's staying in Milwaukee, and that was kind of like a really corny and kind of bland segue, but you know what? Who cares? So yeah, Giannis is staying in Milwaukee. I forgot the exact details of the contract, but I know it's a 5-year supermax. I think he's the highest paid player in the NBA now, and also Rudy Gobert signed like the highest paid contract today for a big man anyway. And this is a good thing, because quite honestly, if Giannis were to leave, then the whole supermax contract idea would have probably been taken out when the players in the association came back together for their collective bargaining agreement that they always have to come to terms with every year. Well, not every year, every couple of years. I forget the exact. I think it's every 4 or 5, something like that. It's not an annual thing with the CBA, and all the sports have it. But yeah, I feel like he would have been the biggest domino to fall, because you have guys who have been like switching teams so much. So you got like a Kevin Durant, you got James Harden who wants to leave. He turned down like getting paid like $50 million a year to play for the Rockets, and he turned that down. I mean, it wasn't a supermax level contract, but that was the most money the Rockets could offer him. Like when I talk about like the supermax, it's talking about like the 5 year, however, like over like 200 million stuff, like something like that. And if is Giannis worth that contract? Absolutely. It's just it's good for the league that you have superstar players like a Giannis Antetokounmpo who wants to stay with his team, and that kind of sets a precedent for maybe future stars wanting to stay in their city. And it depends. That means he has faith, and he said he wants to be in Milwaukee, and he calls that home. And it's not. And I don't want to knock players that want to leave, like want to leave their situations. But like I have respect for guys like a Bradley Beal and stuff like that. When stuff gets tough, you got to duke it out because you signed a contract to play for that team. It's like you don't want to be that guy who wants to take the easy way out and be like, it's kind of like quitting in a video game. You know, it's like, oh, you're getting your ass whooped on 2K or something, and then you quit, this, that, and the other. It kind of has like the same feel there, but again, it's like different circumstances. One's a video game, one's real life when you're dealing with real people's lives and money and all that stuff. But I give respect to guys who decide to duke it out and stay, because superstars back in the day, that's how they went through it. And like you had guys like Allen Iverson who stayed with his team nearly his entire career, whether they were bad or like really bad or really good. You had Paul Pierce and guys like that, like, and that's just in the NBA. Like you can think of players and athletes all over the world who played and stuck with their team when like they were there for the highs of highs and the lowest of lows, you know. But yeah, like again, it sets a precedent for like future, like for the next generation of players. Because now more than ever, you're seeing top level basketball players and top level athletes leaving their teams that they came up with to go and either form like super teams or go and form dynamic duos with their friends and stuff, you know. And it's like, and this is the crazy thing when it comes to the off season, because I mean now the 2021 free agent class is kind of like the two main guys have fallen. So now it's pretty much going to be highlighted by like Kawhi Leonard. And then like when it comes like a like superstar tier, Kawhi's kind of be the only guy there. And I like it when it comes, and like you got Gobert, who's not the player that Giannis Antetokounmpo is. But again, he's like not homegrown per se, but he started out his career with that franchise, and he's going to stay there for another half decade or so. And it's good. And I'm going to talk about that Rudy Gobert contract along with like the Paul George thing. But still staying with Giannis, it's like now it's like, okay, we don't have to be like, hey, we need to start showing progression. We got to get to the finals, this, that, and the other. Giannis has already signed the dotted line saying, hey, let's try to build something here. They don't have to go and start rushing stuff. Like even before Giannis signed that contract, they brought in Drew Holiday. They still have Brook Lopez, who is still low key still a top 10 center in the NBA. And you got Chris Middleton and those guys, but again, they made their mistakes along the way. Letting Malcolm Brogdon go probably wasn't the easiest and smartest idea. But yeah, do I think they're gonna make it to the NBA Finals this year? No, I don't think so. But they should show progression. They should show that they're not just gonna get their ass whooped in the second round and this, that, and the other. Because you got teams that are gonna be consistently getting better. Did they get better? I believe so. Bringing in Drew Holiday and stuff. Now you gotta have like a little big three there. But it'd be more like a Giannis. It's more like the Giannis Antetokounmpo show. Because like again, it's not like they're on the same level. No, Giannis is like head and shoulders above most of the players, figuratively and literally in the NBA. So, but seeing him stay where he's at, showing it's like, hey, I don't want to go and partner up with any of these superstar players and form no big threes and this, that, and the other. That's not his style. And again, I can respect that because he's in a good position to win. Do we know if he's going to play out the whole contract in Milwaukee? Who knows? Or it might be like a Kareem kind of thing. And like he stays with, because Kareem played with only two teams. Who knows? Giannis might be a buck for life. I don't know, because again, this contract expires when he turns like not even 30, 31 years old. So he would still get another big bag after this contract's over. So, but again, that's years and years away now. But hey, like it's intriguing. Now the Bucks are good. Bucks don't have to worry about a freaking DEFCON 5 scenario where they're gonna be in limbo and their best players are Chris Middleton, you know. But we'll dive into more of like the conference and early season predictions and stuff in the future. I got Giannis on my fantasy team, so I hope this dude starts balling out with that new contract. Get into the lab and start doing your thing. Maybe that money will help him buy a better jump shot or something, you know. I mean, but like, hey, I can give him credit that he has been a better shooter. At least he's not afraid to take 3-point shots now. Don't have to be a Kevin Durant, but you have to at least show that you're not afraid to take those. Ben Simmons, I'm talking about you too, because like, damn. And what, you know what, like a quick little tidbit as I'm on the topic of Ben Simmons. I saw that there's a rumor that he could get traded for James Harden. Like the Sixers are opening to trading him for James Harden. And I keep saying this. Don't trade Simmons. Like, I understand, like, if you're going to be getting a guard. Like, in this scenario, I can understand, like, you don't want to trade Embiid because you got if it's a Harden and Simmons combo, then that's the issue. But because if you're Philadelphia and you want James Harden, I guess you're gonna have to, like, you would have to put Ben Simmons in that deal, even though you don't want to. But the thing is, I feel like it would be a bigger regret if you get rid of Simmons, because Simmons still hasn't even hit like what he can actually become. Like, this dude has shown a little bit, but imagine if this dude even gets a jump shot. And like, I'm not even good, because we already had that discussion and all these discussions that you've seen on TV and stuff. Like, if Ben Simmons gets a jump shot, he's LeBron James 2.0. If this dude can just show that he's not afraid to take those. Like, he's still young enough that he's not he still's gonna have to develop. And if you put him in a situation like Giannis is, when he's pretty much surrounded by shooting, like, it gives him time to just develop that on his own. He doesn't have to hurry up and develop a jump shot. But, like, I feel like it's always weird, Simmons and Embiid. Like, if Simmons can get a jumper, then he's chilling. But if you trade him to the Rockets or you put him on his own team, it's like, I don't know how. It's gonna be a regretful trade, in my opinion, when it comes to long term. If Harden helps you guys out right away, all right, that's cool. You can kind of justify making the trade. But you got to remember, like, 4 or 5 years from now, Ben Simmons could be that dude if he has a jump shot. Imagine if he's pulling up over people and stuff and then cuffing threes. But I'm not saying he doesn't have to be no Kevin Durant. Like, Kevin Durant's in the league of his own when it comes to being an absolute weapon offensively. And I'm not saying that Ben Simmons is he's like a one-dimensional player and stuff like that, because the dude can pass the ball, he can play defense, he can grab boards, he can do all that stuff, but he just can't shoot. Can't even, like, he's afraid to take mid-ranges and whatnot. Like, dude, you gotta do something. All the great superstar players had to struggle when it comes to, like, guys like MJ, LeBron, even Embiid. Like, you say Embiid taking threes. Like, the fact that Embiid's a better shooter than Ben Simmons. And I can understand where it comes from, because Ben Simmons, like, the dude is a genetic monster, just like a bunch of these guys in the league. And he didn't have to rely on a jump shot to be really good when he was coming up as a prospect and as a high school, pretty much as a young player. But now you're in a league that they're gonna make you adjust. Like, again, you can't force them to adjust to your style, because they'll just, like, when it gets to the playoffs and stuff, they're gonna challenge you to take jump shots and take those shots, and you're gonna have to be up for the challenge, just like a bunch of the star players in this league already do. You can think of so many players that have a jump shot. DeMar DeRozan, you can think of, like, a dude who isn't really a good 3-point shooter, DeMar DeRozan, but that dude can still give you money in the mid range, and he can still knock down the threes. Again, not as often as people would think, but again, DeMar is getting by with the jump shot that he has. Even if he has a jump shot comparable to DeMar DeRozan, he's good. Like, the dude's an MVP candidate right there. Think of so many good players that have jump shots. You got Luka, you got Tatum, because again, the first thing to go when you start showing age is your athleticism. Just because you're big, that's not going to really mean much. Again, you put Simmons around a team of shooters, then, like, and you let him kind of develop that jumper on his own. You don't have to there's not going to be so much pressure on him. Even in a system like Houston, like, dude, if you trade Simmons to Houston, like, look out. That's all I'm saying. That's the crazy thing right there. Just keep an eye on that. If Simmons gets put on is on the Houston Rockets this upcoming season, look out. I have all the faith in the world in that guy, even though he plays on a team I don't like. And it's just like Philadelphia, like, again, I just don't know how I feel about them trading Simmons. But I mean, hey, again, it'll kind of be like it's a high risk, high reward kind of thing, because it doesn't pan out, then, like, look, you lost Simmons and, like, now you're screwed. But yeah, that like just like setting like putting that to rest right there. That I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But let's change gears a little bit and talk about Rudy Gobert, who's now the biggest highest paid big man. Excuse me. And it's the whole thing with Giannis. Like I said earlier, it's like he stays with the team that's up with him. But again, this is kind of like, I won't even say collateral damage, but this is kind of like an insurance policy. Kind of like the same thing with Paul George, because this is what I was talking about earlier. Because you got Paul George, who signed an extension with the Clippers to stay. And now thinking about it, there's a good chance, think about it. When the Clipper situation, if Kawhi leaves, at least you don't lose out on all the stuff you had to get rid to get him. Because they had to get rid of so many, they had to give up their future to get Paul George and to have Kawhi Leonard. Because Kawhi was like, I ain't signing here unless you get me this dude, this specific player, Paul George. And we were all saying at the beginning of last season, oh my goodness, you got to be careful. The best two ways players in the league are on the same team. Look out, this, that, and the other. And then we see how it all fell apart in the bubble. And I don't even want to talk about it. It's too early to say if Kawhi would want to leave, this, that, and the other. It's we got to see how it plays out. And a very early prediction is I want to see how the season goes, because if it's because you made Doc Rivers a scapegoat and this, that, and the other, and it's everybody but PG and Kawhi. I understand you got guys on TV saying all because now you've already had Doc Rivers as a scapegoat when it comes to why the team was playing so bad, this, that, and the other. But again, you have to put the blame back on Kawhi and PG for how they played. And now you got a new head coach with Ty Lue, and now it's you got to put up or shut up now. You can't. There was so many contradicting statements that Paul George have said over the past season, and even his time in OKC and all this other stuff. But now it's I hope Paul George has a big time year and kind of shows everyone what the player he is. But you got to show that in the playoffs too. And the thing with Kawhi, what made him so effective in Toronto is that he was the dude. They already had leadership and stuff with Kyle Lowry and Fred Van Vliet and all that. He just needed to go out and ball. And if that's the case, if you're gonna need Kawhi to change, it's gonna be kind of hard to do that. But I would say if it's taking longer and Kawhi is kind of showing that he doesn't want to be that guy, he just wants to be that silent assassin and all this other stuff, then you got to bring leadership in and have them be that leadership around him. Because again, the problem is, if you're the best player on your team, you gotta show leadership, or you got one of you guys have to show leadership. You can't throw shade on your teammates or shade at coaching for why you guys aren't successful. Because at the end of the day, it's you with the ball in your hands, and it's up to you to deliver a championship and deliver in clutch moments and actually produce at a high level, not just in the regular season, And this is the same thing with Gobert, and it's not the same situation, but it's kind of it has its similarities, when it comes to Donovan Mitchell, because we're uncertain about how Kawhi is going to be in the next couple of seasons. I believe he's a free agent in the 2021 class, and I know Donovan Mitchell got his money. The thing is, I don't know if Mitchell stays in Utah long term. I don't know if he plays out that contract in Utah. And saying that, I said on the show, Donovan Mitchell would probably be that dude, not the D Wade type who stayed with his whole team and then bounced around to the Bulls and Cleveland and then went back. I feel like Donovan Mitchell will play. I don't believe he'll play out that contract, but I say maybe 2 seasons, 3 seasons, if his relationship with Gobert is kind of has fixed itself, but I just don't know. I'm not entirely sure. That's the biggest thing. But say Mitchell were to leave, you still have Gobert. Again, Gobert, I don't believe will give you 20 points per game. Dude will give you maybe 16, 17, maybe 12, 13 rebounds, and he'll lead the league in blocks or whatever. But I don't believe Donovan Mitchell will play out that contract. And that's a hot take right now, because That's I'm not gonna I'm not gonna predict where he could go. This that. But hey, Donovan Mitchell is a really good player. But I feel he will be that Mitch Richmond type, and I believe I've said this on this show before. He'll be like Mitch Richmond, and he'll be a superstar or just a really prolific star player on multiple teams. Because you had Mitch Richmond, he started out in Golden State, I believe, and then he went to Sacramento, and he was putting up buckets there. And I don't know what other teams he went to after that. I know he won a chip with the Lakers when, like, I think it was his last year in the league. But I feel Donovan Mitchell will be that type of player. He's really good, but he's on a couple of teams before his career's said and done. But he's gonna be on those teams for years. What it would be years. He would be there for a long time, and you remember him on certain teams. You know, kind of like Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts plays out that contract with the Dodgers. You're gonna remember him as a Red Sox and as a Dodger. I don't know which one he would be remembered for more, because he now delivered a chip to both teams. I feel the Red Sox one maybe means more, but that's probably just the Red Sox fan in me saying that. Again, so just don't take that with a pinch of salt, I guess. And besides, his career is far from over. But saying that with Donovan Mitchell, I don't know where he could be, but I know that dude will be putting up buckets on your favorite player until the day he retires. Now with that, Now with the NBA talk out of the way, let's talk about a little bit about Christmas movies. I know Christmas is around, and Christmas is right around the corner, and now everybody's being all festive and all this good stuff. It's always nice to share the love and be jolly and all this stuff right now. But I would want to say try to be that way year round, because I notice people are a lot nicer and whatnot this time of year, a lot more stressful too. Especially if you go into retail stores, you see people trying to like scramble for last minute Christmas presents and all that stuff. I'll say do your Christmas shopping early and save yourself the headache, unless you're getting a PS5 or an Xbox, and good luck to you. And I'll salute you, soldier. But I think it's a good time for Christmas movies. Like Christmas movies, well, obviously Christmas is right around the corner anyway. But it's a good time to kind of critique them. Not have this platform to kind of say, because don't get me wrong, there's a lot more really good movies, really good Christmas movies than there are really bad ones. And let me just say this about the really bad Christmas movies. Most of the time, the story doesn't make any sense. Or it's a corny and silly story that will lose your attention 5 minutes in. Or it's just a story that was pretty much like rewritten from like a popular movie from like 10 years earlier, 15 years earlier, 20 years earlier. Or just a failed reboot with no similar characters and all that stuff. And I didn't even realize that Die Hard with Bruce Willis was a Christmas movie. And I don't think people classify it as such. I know Rotten Tomatoes did. And don't get me wrong, Die Hard is a really good movie and a really, really fun franchise and all that. But I just never looked at that and then thought Christmas movie. Maybe because I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe they cracked Christmas jokes and that stuff. If it is a Christmas movie, then it must have came out in November, December. But again, you gotta just it's kind of like ugly sweaters for Christmas. It's like the same thing with bad Christmas movies. They're like the ugly sweaters. They're not good, and no one likes them. But like I say again, there's a lot more good movies and good Christmas movies than bad ones. Home Alone, easily one of the best Christmas movies of all time. Sequels, I mean, Home Alone 2 was good, and then after that, like, dude, what are we doing? You got, I guess, Die Hard. Die Hard's good, but I just never thought about it to be Christmas. And this time next year, you got to have Spider-Man. And I'm not even going to deep dive into that, but But yeah, and like you got Disney to always be. This is the time of year that Disney always be making like their steady figure right there is around Christmas time and the holiday season when they have those holiday themed movies. And like you got Frozen, and then you got what was that movie called? It was about Day of the Dead. Coco. Okay, but again, it's pretty much it's just something fun to talk about. If you're trying to be an aspiring filmmaker, I would probably say don't try your very first movie to be a Christmas movie. But again, it's always fun to talk about this stuff this time of year. It's kind of like my way of connecting with people when it comes to like the holidays and stuff. But I hope everyone's gonna enjoy their Christmas, because this is the last podcast before Christmas Day, and hope you spend it with your family, all your loved ones. I hope you get what you want for Christmas. I hope you got the person you love so very much something nice, and just remember just to enjoy each other's company. You know, 2020 is almost out. 2020 is almost done. We got maybe another 2 weeks, people. Like, hang in there. Don't just walk outside and get blown up or something. Like, okay? Keep smiling, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast. Love y'all.